without a bit of a scare. Up by as much as 23 in the fourth, the Lakers allowed Houston to pull within 5 points at one point. The Lakers would hold on to win by 10, with Anthony Davis leading all scorers at 29. The Lakers and Clippers are now each a game away from meeting in the conference final. We are joined now by Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard. And Chris, was there anything that you saw last night that changed your opinion about the potential Clippers-Lakers matchup?
Well, look, I know the rules of this game, guys. You cannot have it both ways. And I'm not trying to have it both ways, but I'm just going to be honest. The Lakers look fantastic. I put no stock in their little mid or late fourth quarter swoon where they let their foot off the gas, because the Clippers have entire games where they let their foot off the gas. So I'm not concerned about that with the Lakers. And I have to be honest, right now, I think that the Lakers are playing better basketball than the Clippers. LeBron James obviously is at the top of his game. I know last night he only scored, 16?
Yep.
But he's playing great. Anthony Davis, you can mark him down for 26 and 10. I still have questions about what he's going to do in the big moments in the fourth quarter of big games, but he's going to get you at least 26 and 10. I can't say that about Paul George. Then you got playoff Rondo, who seems to be hanging around, and one or two of the other Lakers, whether it's Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Markieff Morris, somebody else, Danny Green or KCP, is stepping up, hitting pretty big shots, and being a pretty good third or fourth player on any given night. So the Lakers look great. But all that said, I am sticking with my pick of the Clippers over the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. I think the Clippers are tougher, the Clippers are deeper, and I think the Clippers are more comfortable in the role of the hunter rather than the hunted. And next series with the Lakers, they will be back in the role of the hunter. They've been the hunted all year. They've been the hunted in these first two playoff rounds, but they will be the hunter in the conference finals, and I think they're comfortable there. I also think, look, the Clippers have better closers. Kawhi Leonard's arguably the top closer right now. I don't care what the stats necessarily say, although they can be made to look favorable for him. But with that mid-range game, that is gold at the end of a game, where you know if you get to a few spots on the floor, you're going to hit 65% of those shots. And the only player I've seen stop him is LeBron, but can LeBron do that 4 to 7 games? So I like Kawhi, and then you got Lou, obviously, who can close, and even Paul George. So I went into this week, Clippers 55%, Lakers 45% in the conference finals. The only thing that's changed for me based off last night is I'll go Clippers 52, Lakers 48. It's going to be 7 games, but I'm still with the Clippers.
Well, for me, I'm looking at the Lakers' defense and what they've been able to do to James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Over the last 3 games, they've held them to 103 points, which is 14 fewer than what they normally get in the regular season. AD and LeBron are doing what we thought they would do. That was dominate. And could we get, because we don't have a definitive third guy, so could we get a contribution from Kuzma one night, Caruso another night, Keith Morris another night? Could we get somebody? Man, Frankie B was feeling so good last night. Chris, he threw out that Horton Tucker.
What was that about?
He threw out Horton Tucker.
That's how little respect he has for the Houston Rockets.
Yes.
He threw out Horton Tucker.
Horton gives a hoot. That's where you put him out. I think that.
Did you read that?
I did.
Did you read Dr. Zeus?
Once upon a time. Once upon a time.
Really?
I said, Frankie B.
Wait. In rural South Georgia, you're reading Dr. Zeus? I just got to know.
Get me out of the library?
I know, but I'm impressed. I love it.
When you in elementary school, they forced you to go to the library.
Okay, I got it. Go ahead.
Because it wasn't on my recommended list.
Horton, here's a who. Go ahead.
And that's what happens. They're just too small. And when they skill big man, you know, AD and Steven Adams are 2 different animals, Chris. I mean, one guy, yeah, he's a big guy. You try to keep him off the board, but you're not worried about him offensively. If he gives you 10, you're like, okay, wow, Steven Adams had a nice game. You got to try to stop Anthony Davis from getting 30 and 15. So now it's taking so much out of PJ on the defensive end, he can give you nothing on the offensive end because his legs are done, trying to battle and scramble. And so for me, I love what I've seen, and I agree with you. The Lakers just got complacent. They started turning the ball over, and then all of a sudden they started just, jacking up the ball 18 seconds into the shot clock. I'm not worried about this. I love what I'm seeing. We ready. We ready.
Yep. Okay. I have to ask my friend Chris Broussard. It sounds to me like, Mr. Broussard, your eye test is telling you to flip your pick to the Lakers. That's what you went all the way to the edge of that cliff and you would not jump over it, and you dropped it to 52. He looked over. He was peering down into what could be disaster, but he finally said, no, I better stick with my pick. So, Chris, I will give you one last chance here, one last opportunity. Would you like to go ahead and pick the Lakers?
I do believe in take integrity, Skip. And I've been with the Clippers for months now.
You have.
I'm going to stick with them. The Lakers look great. You're right. I looked over the cliff. I peered. I took a little step. But I'm going to stick with the Clippers.
Okay. This is why you're right to stick with the Clippers. I put zero stock in what I saw from the Lakers in the last 2 games, in large part because the Rockets got housed. Once Daniel House's bubble burst, their bubble burst, and they weren't the same team anymore. It rocked them psychologically. As Shannon always says, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and he was their weakest link. It sounded like Tyson Chandler was in there for a while, too, but I don't know what happened. House is gone. They got housed. They came out, especially last night, looking defeated, looking dead in the water, looking dead-headed, looking as flat as Florida. I was stunned at how flat the Rockets looked to start the game. 2 players especially, a guy I admire so much, a man who competes so hard, especially on defense, is P.J. Tucker. He just wasn't there last night. Look at the numbers. You buy 0 for 4 and 0 for 2 from 3. You weren't even taking shots. And Covington, after he got his nose busted, look, he didn't show up last night. 1 of 2? Really? He made 1 of 2 shots. He made 1 3. And how about James Harden? Another big blemish on the playoff resume. Here we go again. 2 of 11, 1 of 6 from 3. Come on, James. This was your night to at least put up a fight. There were 3 Rockets who in the end kept fighting, and one of them is one of the co-stars. And we all know what Russell Westbrook's going to do. He might Westbrook. He might throw it in the 15th row much of the time. But when it is time to keep fighting in the 4th quarter, will he not fight his tail off? Yeah. And he makes 4 of 6 shots in the 4th quarter and 2 threes. And God bless Austin Rivers. He came in and just fought for his father, because his father taught him to fight. He fought it all the way home. He made some shots. McLemore made 3 threes, and they hung in, and it took your man Caruso. It's the Caruso. They're letting him close. Yeah. I'm shocked by that. And he had to hit a 3 that had to keep them above water because it was a 5-point game, and James jumped out on him and got a Dort Memorial hand up on him but couldn't get the ball, and Caruso had to shoot it higher than he wanted to arc it, and did he not just rain it in? It hit nothing but the bottom of the net, and that kept you from some humiliation.
And he held that...